For Creamer Media in Johannesburg, I'm Sashni Madi. Joining me today is polygrapher and author Silke Kaiser, here to discuss her book, Gotcha. Welcome, Silke.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here.
It's good to have you. Now, you worked as a PA for 16 years before becoming a polygrapher.
Yes.
Tell us, what does a polygrapher do and how did you get into this career?
A polygrapher, it actually means a lie detector. So if one was going to describe me in basic terms, one would say that I am a lie detector. What I do is I do voice polygraph testing. There's another one as well, it's called the biofeedback polygraph. Both systems work. There is a bit of a ruckus within the industry regarding voice polygraph, but I can tell you now it works. I've been using that system with great success since 2013. What will happen is that a company normally will contact me to say there's been a theft, as an example, and I need to come and polygraph people to ascertain who it is. The polygraphs are about 90% accurate. You cannot ask for a higher accuracy rate than that. I also work, from my book you saw, I do a lot of farm attacks, is that I work on them when a farm attack is planned, or on the odd occasion if it's happened already, I will go and polygraph the staff there and I will find out who's involved. And just to go a little bit further, I know this is not the question, but the staff who are involved in those farm attacks, who are giving the information and who stand to benefit materially from the farm attacks are called the contact people, and the people who commit the attack are called the hit squad. And then there's more people, there's a watcher in the woods, and that's all in the book.
Yep. And how did you go from being a PA to polygrapher?
I did explain that in my book at length, but because I first wrote my book, Crime in South Africa, sent it to the editor, he said to me, it's crap, rewrite it and put yourself in it. So I thought, right, you want to hear about my Banting diet, you'll hear it. Obviously it failed. But I had a friend who owned a shop, and she had an issue there of money being stolen from my purse and her purse, and it was her employee. A polygrapher arrived, did the polygraph test, and I was hooked. And then I trained with Cliff Kutsia.
And how accurate is a polygraph test, and can it be used as evidence in a court of law?
Not in a court of law, because the industry is not regulated in South Africa, unfortunately. We did try to get it regulated. Government was not interested. However, in the CCMA, it definitely is taken into account, provided that there's other evidence to support it. So in other words, the polygraph test has to form part of an evidence package. You cannot just go in and say, he failed his test, he stole all the chickens, and there's no evidence.
Yeah. Now, you're right that as a polygrapher, farm attacks are your speciality. How did you become involved with farm attacks, and why are you more drawn to work in these cases?
I fell into farm attacks. I gave a talk to a big company about lie detection, and Lucas Swart approached me. And Lucas Swart, even though he looks very big on TV, in real life he doesn't, and he has these blue eyes, and he said to me, what do you know about farm attacks? I said, well, I know they're happening, and he explained to me how they happen. I did a video about farm attacks, and it's very difficult to measure on social media how many views you've had, but I counted up to 5.5 million views. That video went viral. My hair was not done. I had pizza in the oven. I just did it like this, just as an aside, and boom. And Lucas gets information that the farm attacks are about to occur, often through informants, and Impempi is an informant. He will then go to that farm, he will gather more information, he will then tell the farmer an attack is imminent. I will then go and do the polygraph test. But farmers often know when an attack is imminent because there's signs that something is happening. Sometimes the staff act a little bit differently to what they normally act, and a farmer can normally sense that something is about to go down.
And you do say that farm attacks are usually not racially motivated.
They are not racially motivated. The evidence that we receive in the reports is that guns, money and jewellery is the main goal of these farm attacks, as well as in urban invasions. That is changing. That is changing at the moment. There's stuff happening in the political arena that is changing that. These parties that scream, kill the Boer, kill the farmer. So we are seeing that change. That is very current, though.
Now, tell us about the time a farm worker tried to bewitch you.
I have to laugh. You obviously read that in the book. So I was called to do a farm attack that was imminent. That couple had left. They were so terrorized. And there was very few farm workers on that farm, and there was a married couple, and they were the ones who failed my test. And the following morning, I went with a security company, and there was one police officer on the scene. And I made this police officer breakfast, and we went to the room in which this married couple stayed. And she had on the table, a small little table, she had newspaper, some herbs, and a monkey skull. And then as I walked up, she threw her head back in what should have been an ear-splitting scream. I am not mocking witchcraft, and I'm not mocking the belief in sangomas. People have their beliefs, and I totally respect their beliefs. If I had been brought up believing in sangomas, my belief too would be unshakable, because the belief in witchcraft runs its thread throughout crime in South Africa, by the way. Anyway, I got to that table and I just swept that whole skull off, and I tried to crush that monkey skull underfoot. Monkey skulls are tough. They will not be crushed underfoot at all. But I know that police officer, who was Zulu, just stared at me. I think I petrified him when I did that.
Now, talk to us about why women are sometimes drawn in as accomplices in violent crimes.
Sure. That is my second book, and my second book is called Sex with Sociopaths, and it is based on this kind of a relationship. I became very interested as to why a woman would become involved in a priority crime, and every single time it was at the behest of a man. Women that are in prison, most of them will have committed a crime because of a man. So either that would be an intimate partner who has low levels of education, low levels of employment. He's either not employed or has very spotty employment. She would be the breadwinner, and there would be some substance abuse, possibly alcohol. He would then convince her to get involved in a crime, to either organize a burglary or a robbery at her place of work. Or there would be a son that would be between the ages of 14 and 23, low levels of education, lack of a strong father figure, and also some substance abuse. There is a cycle to that relationship. It is called the trauma bonded or the betrayal bonded relationship. It is not the same as battered woman syndrome, where you have something called the Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
It is not the same as love addiction. The cycle is love bombing, devalue, discard, hoover. Sex with Sociopaths is solely about that.
Okay. And tell us, in terms of body language, what do you look for when trying to gauge where the person is lying?
You know, that is such a difficult question to answer, but what I do is when somebody sits in front of me, I will ask them simple questions. How are you? How many children do you have? Where do you stay? And then I will start asking about the issue. Let's say it's a theft. The body language changes. But I've noticed one thing, and I know that my trainer, Cliff Kutsia, will kill me for saying this. I have noticed one thing. A lot of guilty people will yawn in a polygraph test. And I have come to the conclusion, and this is a Silke Kaiser fact only, when we lie, we go into fight or flight syndrome. That requires oxygen. And when we yawn, we take in more oxygen. So I think they are yawning because they are lying to me. They're in fight or flight syndrome, and therefore they are taking in more oxygen. Feet pointing towards a door, bouncing, very nervous, and folding their arms like this, withdrawing from me. But I would need, and also facial tics, but I would need more than one of those body language for a red flag to be raised and for me to try and push for a confession.
Now, there is an element of danger to what you do and to some of the people that you speak with. How do you keep your mind focused on the job rather than the danger that could occur?
You know, in Sex with Sociopaths, I talk about how I went to a numerologist and she said to me, you are fiercely attracted to danger. So I like danger, but not proper danger, like sort of danger that might happen. You know, when I go onto the farm attacks, it can't happen at that time because the plan must be in place. In my book, I talk about the meticulous planning of farm attacks. Me pitching up there, it's unlikely to happen. Even though I have been on one farm attack where I did think, it's going to go down right now, where we locked the wife and the children in a safe room and we called the farm watch and they arrived with all their guns, etc. But I love it. It makes the blood pop in my veins.
And lastly, one of the first questions in your book is what makes a criminal a criminal. Have you got an answer to that?
I started a degree which I did not finish through uni, so it was a criminology degree. And the one thing that I did learn, and which I've proved over and over again, there is one leading cause of crime across the world, and that is the lack of a strong father figure in childhood. That is the leading cause. Because even if you look at prisons across the world, most of those prisoners, where are the fathers? They don't have fathers. They'll have mothers, but no strong father figure. That is what makes a criminal. In South Africa, we have the unique situation of millions of Zimbabweans, undocumented by the way, who have jumped the border, and they are only here to feed their families, so they often commit crime. There are millions of Zimbabweans who would never dream of it, but desperation and poverty is definitely a motivating factor towards the incredible crime rate that we have in South Africa, and also our justice system that is in shambles.
Silke, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It's been wonderful to be here. Thank you.
That was author Silke Kaiser speaking to Creamer Media about her latest book, Gotcha.